These are the 3 neighborhood features that you should pay attention to before you purchase your next property. Time and time again, I see the same freaking mistake. I've been selling luxury homes in Beverly Hills for 10 years now, and same things. Buyers coming in, they pay attention to the finishes, for some reason, particularly kitchen countertops, sometimes the bathrooms, the floors, the paint, the layout of the house, things that they can change, and completely neglect the features of a neighborhood that help the property appreciate. And the funny part is that the finishes that they pay attention to, they're going to depreciate with time as soon as they purchase it, and they're just going to go down in value. So if you want to make sure the neighborhood you're buying into has all these elements, pay attention. I'm going to cover the 3 most important ones, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you 3 common mistakes or features that you think actually help property prices increase in a neighborhood, which are false. Are you ready? Subscribe to this channel. My name is Arvin Haddad. I help you buy the right house in the right neighborhood at the right time by analyzing homes, neighborhoods, and market trends. Let's get right to it. The number 1 element is zoning and lot sizes. You're thinking, Arvin, of course, the bigger the lot, the better. Yeah, but also how underbuilt the community is. But first, when it comes to lot sizes, you have to understand there are different lot sizes within the streets of the same neighborhood. If you're happening to have like 2 properties on 2 different streets within the same neighborhood, it's better to go with the house with the bigger lot because it has more upside. And also in that terms, the width and the length ratio, I could make a whole video about that, but you want to stick with more of a square shape or a 2:3 ratio of width to length. That type of dimension happens to appreciate more. You can more easily build it. It allows a better backyard and more setbacks on the side. The second element of zoning is tight zoning. Now you're like, Arvin, you got me all confused. I thought looser zoning is better. Look, to some degree, yes, of course, you want to be able to build more square footage at the house, but not at the expense of converting the zoning. One element is you want to make sure the zoning of the location you're purchasing a house, you can't convert it to a 4-plex or multifamily or townhouses because it's simple. The more houses someone can build, and if you can do it, your neighbors can do it too, more supply of housing will come into that neighborhood and push the prices down. The third element of zoning is you want to make sure you have large setbacks. And this is pretty simple. When you close your eyes and envision a luxury home, what do you see? You see a long driveway, a huge motor court, side setbacks that are bigger than your backyard, and a huge backyard, right? It's true with everything. If you're not planning to buy a luxury house right now, but still, you got to look at the side setbacks with your neighbors. If it's 3 feet, that's really low. 5 feet is, I think, minimum we should consider. Now, there's some neighborhoods that are very strict, and that's just all you get within that neighborhood. But if there's variance within the same neighborhood that you have wider, bigger side setbacks and front setbacks, that will define that neighborhood as a better neighborhood to appreciate. Another element, of course, I talked about is underbuilt. If there's a neighborhood that has decent amount of zoning where you can add square footage to that area or neighborhood, and it has a lot of underbuilt property, older homes, right, that you could increase as soon as developers come into that neighborhood and start flipping the houses and build luxury homes within decent setbacks, it will increase the property. What you don't want to see is the zoning is so loose where the property door is at the front of the street. That would never turn into a luxury neighborhood because that's just not luxury by definition. Okay, the last element of zoning is that you want to be farther away from condominium or high density zoning. It could be apartments, townhouses, or definitely mobile homes, right? And it's pretty simple. It's exclusivity. If someone can come and have your location for a lot less value, it makes your location less exclusive. Now, let me show you guys some examples. You all know Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills has 3-4 different neighborhoods. This is the least expensive area. We call it south of Santa Monica. Range of homes are from like 2.5 to 6 million. And then we have Beverly Hills Flat. This is where everyone comes takes pictures with the palm trees and everything. You've seen it. These range of homes here is from like 6 million and can go all the way up to 30 million. And then you have Beverly Hills north of Sunset. The cheapest property you can buy north of Sunset is probably 10 million. And you can go all the way to 150 million. This is where Jeff Bezos live and the richest of the rich live over here. And then we have View properties in Truesdale. Now, all the elements I just told you, I can show you within Beverly Hills. Let's change the view map to the actual city. This is the lower Santa Monica. This is Beverly Hills flat. Pay attention how closely these properties are close to each other. You see the side setbacks are 3 feet. Okay. Another element, do you see all these commercial housing next to them? They're less expensive. As to when you come to Beverly Hills flats, they're about 5 to 10 feet of setbacks between each property. Another interesting element is in the Beverly Hills flat, as you go up, this is the 500 block, 600 block. You can see these streets are dividing at 700 block, 800 blocks. Some of them have 800 blocks. And as you go up away from the commercial zoning, they become more and more expensive. And also the lot sizes happen to increase as you go up. And when you cross Sunset, you enter Beverly Hills north of Sunset. Here's where Jeff Bezos live. And you have, some of the most expensive, iconic properties in the world in this segment. So you can see all these elements play out in the actual neighborhood of Beverly Hills, and that's why you should pay attention to them. Sometimes you see a neighborhood that has these elements to become a luxury neighborhood, but it's not yet a luxury neighborhood. And that's when you find the gem. That's where you find, okay, I can see this neighborhood becoming like the other neighborhood that I've seen because it has all those elements. Now, the second feature of a neighborhood that helps its properties appreciate faster is security and privacy. The first one out of the bat is a gated community. A gated community significantly could appreciate higher with time because it's more exclusive. It happens to have less crime within it, and that's an obvious one. But the second one, if you can't get into a gated community, is a property at the end of a cul-de-sac. Let me show you an example, okay? Let's just go to Beverly Hills and pick street like over here. Okay, this is Beverly Hills north of Sunset. Now, if someone happens to want to, burglarize this property, the cops have to block possibly this street or maybe these two ends over here. And they'll have a pretty high chance of catching this burglar. And for that reason, burglars actually try to avoid homes at the end of a cul-de-sac. There's only one way out. As to if you compare it to Beverly Hills flat, this poor property, $30 million house over here. And if they try to burglarize this, there's 100 ways they can zigzag out of this, and it will be so hard to catch them. And for that reason, there are more burglaries happening in Beverly Hills flat than north of Sunset. The other element, for some reason, is major roads. Major roads, and you can see that amount of foot traffic, pedestrian traffic completely decreases once you go to Beverly Hills north of Sunset to Beverly Hills flat, and same with Beverly Hills south of Wilshire. So pay attention where the neighborhood is, where the house you're purchasing is within the neighborhood. If there are major divides, and you can pay attention to these major divides that separate one area of the neighborhood from the other area, and normally on the other side is a commercial zoning like over here. You can see there is, for example, the commercial zoning over here, and then there's this road over here, and then there's another major road where the safest area is above Sunset. Okay, the third feature of a neighborhood that helps its property prices to appreciate faster and higher is higher education. You didn't see that one coming, but listen to this. Highly educated people happen to have higher income, and people with higher income tend to do less panic selling. And what does panic selling do to a neighborhood? It sets a comp. And if there's more of that, it sends more bad comps, bringing property prices lower. The other element is actually has to do more with growth, which is highly educated people happen to start companies, create jobs within that neighborhood. Let's say we have a billionaire over here in Beverly Hills north of Sunset. He decides to start a new company and gets an office in Beverly Hills Triangle and starts an office and hires 20 different engineers, bunch of PR, bunch of marketing people. And these people who just got hired, they want to be close to their office, so they happen to purchase properties closer to where they work. And they purchase a property here. Well, they just bought somebody's house over here. And this person who just sold them their house, they're going to go buy a house in Beverly Hills flat. They want to upgrade. And the person who bought over here is going to go try to buy a house in Beverly Hills north of Sunset. Do you see how it's all connected? So by creating jobs, more people coming within the neighborhood and purchasing properties closer to their offices, where it would grow the housing market in that area. The third element within the higher education is pretty obvious, but people don't think about it. Highly educated people want to be around other highly educated people because they go to the same restaurant, their wives hang out, their children go to the same school. So when a place has a highly educated people, it attracts other highly educated people to it. And when that happens, you have more and more highly educated people moving into the neighborhood who will purchase the property prices on the lower part of the neighborhood, pushing the whole neighborhood up. Okay, now here are the three features that you probably pay attention to when you buy a house, but they're not that important. The first one is school districts. You should know that school districts change significantly. And when you are stepping up to luxury and ultra luxury homes, school districts become a lot less important as most of these people send their kids to private schools anyways. Now, the second most common feature that people mistake and purchase thinking it's actually a good thing and it's not is tract home developments that are gated. Look, I understand for security reasons that is a good plus, but tract home developments don't appreciate as much as single family home neighborhoods that are diverse. One is that people want to feel unique about the house they own. If your house is identical to all the Plan B houses, the 3 layouts in the community and every other 3 houses the same thing, it's just not unique. And people want to feel unique. Luxury means it's unique. And tract homes, by definition, they're not unique. There's another problem with it. When a recession happens, there's a property that sells really low because the owner was under distress, that sets a comp. And because the layouts and the finishes and everything is the same, it's really hard to write off that comp. It comps exactly with your property and it will bring your property prices lower. As to single family homes, you have a lot more leeway because they're so different from each other. The layouts are different, the orientation is different, and all those other elements are different from each other. The third feature that you think it's really important, but it's not that important, is crime rate. Let me give you an example. I'm going to click on Beverly Hills and look at the crime rate. It's D+. Now, before I tell you how could Beverly Hills, one of the most affluent areas, have a D+ crime score and still be very desirable, let me tell you guys what this website does. This is the first dashboard that does buy and sell signals in the residential housing market. It uses 30 different housing indicators at the zip code level, county level, and the state level. It measures how each one of these features affects home values and home desirability as far as buyer demand and seller demand, and then checks the local unemployment rate, checks the mortgage rates, historical, and the CME forecast, then decides which one of these features affect your particular neighborhood the most, assigns the right amount of weight to each one of those indicators, forecasts 12 months out, and gives you buy and sell signal with a degree of confidence. Now, have you ever asked anyone, hey, is it a good time to buy or not? When you're asking that question, you're effectively asking the real estate agent or the person you think knows the answer to be able to do all these calculations in their head. There are certain things that AI can do way better than humans. I know I can't answer that question, but AI can. It does a pretty good job at giving you what could possibly happen in this neighborhood with a degree of confidence where humans just could not possibly do that. So if you want to check it out, visit zipsmart.ai. Now, when it comes to crime, you got to know what type of crime it is. Is it homicide? Is it burglaries, right? So in Beverly Hills, very affluent neighborhood, almost in every street, there's a security car, right? That is paid by the neighbors, that drives up and down the streets and makes sure there's no burglaries within the house. The type of crimes we're seeing in Beverly Hills are not homicide, which would bring the home prices significantly lower. They're more burglaries as far as going into Beverly Hills in retail stores and stealing stuff, which get recorded as a crime and it gets reported and brings the score down. So when you're looking at the crime rate, you got to know what type of crime it is that is assigning the score, and also what are the elements of the neighborhood that you can protect yourself, like being in a gated community or a cul-de-sac, or if the property is separated by a major road where it discourages homeless people to cross it to get to the other area. So if you want to be more informed, if you want to know when to buy, what type of house to buy, which neighborhoods to buy, and get analysis, detailed analysis of homes and market trends, subscribe to the channel. I live in the comments. I answer all the comments myself. I will see you there.